How is everyone doing? It's day 3. I know everyone is tired, but we need you all to perk up for this conversation, okay? We are going to be talking with, I'm going to let you all introduce yourselves. Yes.
Testing, testing. Can you all hear me? Testing? Perfect. My name is Elaine Merrill Brown. I'm a daytime Emmy Award winning writer. I'm a former HBO media executive who's had 2 novels published by Penguin Random House, and also co-author of the next Little Black Book of Success, New Laws of Leadership for Black Women, with this lovely lady, my co-author, Rhonda Joy
Hi.
McLean.
And I'm Rhonda Joy McLean. I'm an attorney. I'm a 40 years musician and executive coach. I have my own business, RJM Leads. And this lovely lady, and unfortunately we lost our 3rd co-author, Marcia Haygood, earlier this year, who was a beautiful spirit, and her spirit is with us today. But we've written 3 books, and this book, the one that you can get today and will sign, is the next Little Black Book of Success, Laws of Leadership for Black Women. But it's for everyone. It's to help you with careers. It's to help address the situation with, Black women under attack. A lot of us have lost our jobs. But it's to really help you refresh yourself about how brilliant you are, how beautiful you are, and how resilient you are.
Okay, so thank you. These are 2 very accomplished women who, with their 3rd co-author, have given us 3 books. You called it a literary trilogy?
Yes. Leadership trilogy.
Leadership trilogy.
Yes.
I'm going to jump right in with what's one law of success from any of the books that you personally had to relearn more than once? So we don't always get the lesson the first time. And I'm going to give this question to Elaine.
Thank you, Bridget. One law of success that I totally swear by, and if it wasn't for this law of success, I don't think these books would have been written, because networking or connecting with people is so important throughout our careers. Not just when we're not just when we're making the ask or we want to ask someone for something, but we really need to build success teams, because change is inevitable, and as you can see what's happening today, connecting to people so that you have a broader group of people who you connect with and pick from, because of the information that they would have that would be helpful to you. So networking, I would say, is the number one thing. When I took this class at HBO, leadership class, the first person I reached out was Marcia Haygood, our co-author, and Marcia invited Rhonda. We started this GNO group for about 10 years, where we met quarterly for dinner. And it was out of this group that we shared experiences, we shared our challenges, we also shared life with our families. We also had a little cocktail every now and then, but it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And we decided, hey, listen, we've had collectively 90 years of experience. We have to give back to the next generation.
Right.
So they won't make the same missteps as we
we
did
made.
and learn from our experiences.
Exactly. And I want to add that what I learned, I had to learn how to listen. Really effective leaders, particularly in these times where there's so much noise, there's so much chaos. I grew up in a family where people are like this. They're just waiting to speak. They don't listen to understand what you're saying. They're just waiting to say whatever they want to say. So I had to take a course at the Center for Creative Leadership on how to listen effectively, because really good leaders listen not only to what you say, but to what you don't say. And so for me, I think that one of the most important skills you can have is to be a good listener.
Thank you both. I want to add a comment and let everyone know. So both of these women are humble and are sort of downplaying their receipts in their resume. I happen to have known Rhonda for some time, years, well over a decade. And while she was the Deputy General Counsel at Time Inc., while Essence was under Time Inc., I was an assistant editor. I was a baby editor. And all of you know, whether you understand media or not, you know the general counsel runs the legal department. So we're talking about a Fortune 500 company. But let me tell you, Rhonda was always pleasant. she wasn't one of those people that wouldn't speak to me because I was, below, her in terms of stature or tenure. She was always kind. How are you? And really waited for an answer, because sometimes people ask how you are and they don't care. They just, before you can even finish answering, they've already walked away. I think that's a huge lesson for us all. And I don't know that it's necessarily in the latest book, but that's something that you lived. Okay? I just had to say that.
Thank
Let's
you.
give her flowers.
Thank you.
Yes, because it's the truth. Okay, so what's a piece of advice? Either of you can take this. A piece of advice about leadership that sounds good, but in reality, it rarely works.
I will start by, I'm going to change the question. Remember, I'm an attorney. This is what we do. So here's what I will change the question to. What is one that people find difficult to do, but if you can do it, you will grow? And it's stepping outside your comfort zone. If you are comfortable, you are not growing. So Marsha, who's not with us today, would say, get out your comfort zone. Try something new. Volunteer to do something that's never been done. Volunteer to do the thing that no one else wants to do. It's a way to get seen. It's a way to get ahead. It's also a way to grow some skills. So that's different than what you asked, but that's what I wanted to say.
No, thank you for that. Elaine, do you have anything to add?
Well, I just wanted to add that, our book with 40 chapters really focuses on skills, leadership skills that are universal. So it applies, as Bridget said earlier, not only to women, but these leadership skills apply to men as well. And I had breakfast with a male friend a couple of days ago, and he was like, Elaine, you just need to, replace the word she for he and him for her, because these laws apply to everyone and not just to women. We wrote the book we wish we had when we were first coming into the workplace. We didn't have this book. So we wanted to make it, and the chapters are short, very conversational, and very specific, very topical to skill sets that you need, because leadership can be taught.
Yes.
Leaders aren't just born, leaders can be made, and that's something that I learned.
That's powerful. How can Black women better prepare for negotiations, specifically when we know that we're being underestimated, we know that we're being lowballed? And I think this applies to any industry.
It does.
Yes.
It does. One of the first things we recommend you do is that you keep a personal leadership notebook. You should know what you bring to the table. You should know what you and your team has accomplished. You should never be surprised in a performance appraisal by saying, well, this didn't come out well. You should know. And it's all right to have made a mistake, but you should know how to recover from that. I did not do that. It seemed like bragging. I grew up in the Black Baptist Bible Belt in North Carolina. So, they tell you you're not supposed to brag about yourself. But if you don't, who's gonna? So keep a list of your accomplishments, and then be ready when you're called into any meeting so that you can say, here's what I've learned, here's what we can offer you, here's what we've done, we under-promised, we over-delivered, and you'll be ready to negotiate because you'll know what your value is at the table.
Okay. Would you also say, maybe being those of us who are uncomfortable, not just talking about our accomplishments, but talking about compensation?
Yes.
Do you how would you say, either of you, that?
Well, we used this group that she started, Girls Night Out. I actually created a whole job that did not exist by talking to Elaine, Miss Marsha, whom we loved and lost, and I said, we can help each other. They said, well, just because it's not been done before doesn't mean you can't offer to do it. So we wrote a job description, which I ran past them. Then they told me how much money to ask for. It was twice what I was going to ask for, because we often, particularly women of color, we don't even know what the salary is. We're so worried about, do I know how to do everything they're going to ask me to do? Let me tell you, I hired over 200 interns at the Federal Trade Commission. Many of them, a white man would send a resume. First of all, it had errors on it. It was misspelled. He didn't have my name right. But he thought that if he knew one of the 10 things I was looking for, he could do the job. I had to beg Black people, students, to apply, because we think if we don't know how to do all 10 things, we can't apply. No, you're going to learn on the job. I'll stop.
Thank you for that. That's huge. What is the most useful thing, or one of the most useful things you both did in the first 90 days, 3 months or so, in your first position as a CEO or in a senior leadership executive position?
Well, one of the first things I did, I wanted to get to know each member on my team. I think that's very important. And just have the one-on-one, whether it's lunch, whether it's breakfast, to sit down and talk and ask them, what their goals are, what they consider to be their greatest accomplishments, what they would like to accomplish. And I just think just establishing a relationship with people on your team is very important. And then getting the team together, and just so that everyone on your team can get to know each other. And teams these days are global, so
Yes.
you may not have people who look like you on your same team. People of different races, different religions, and it's important to embrace each person's religion and race, so that you develop a team that's cohesive, that's more open, that's more understanding.
I think that you need to observe, because I come from people who talk too much. You can probably tell. So what I was told is shut up and watch. How do things get done in the workplace? How are decisions made? Who runs the meetings? How does information get communicated? Who is in the room when decisions are made? Is anybody that looks like you in the room? If not, get yourself in the room. But I learned, observe, get a sense of how things run before you decide. And you may have wonderful suggestions, but one of my early mistakes was I spoke too soon. Nobody had asked me how to improve the culture. Ain't nobody asked me, you're supposed to get in there and learn your job first before you tell other people what their job is. So I'm going to say, look, listen, and learn.
Okay, so that's a great segue. Because one of my questions was, or is, what's something that initially you considered a mistake early in your career that in hindsight now you realize was a very powerful learning lesson? So maybe Elaine, you want to take that one?
Yeah, one of the things I consider to be a mistake is not really asking for the feedback that I was really looking for, not asking the follow-up questions, because many managers may feel uncomfortable giving feedback, or uncomfortable giving feedback to us, because of the angry black women syndrome. They're afraid they're going to hurt our feelings, they're afraid we're going to get upset. So I didn't really ask questions that were strategic. I think for me, just not necessarily being strategic or intentional throughout my career is a mistake that I've learned with Rhonda and Marsha and the other peer mentors that we've had. That's something that we really need to do. And keeping the personal leadership notebook, as Rhonda said, I think is very critical, because oftentimes we take what we do for granted. We're so good at the work that we do, we take ourselves for granted. We really need to write down what we've accomplished quarterly, I would say. So when you do have these conversations, feedback conversations, you're asking for feedback, at least you can actually have, facts and results and something to have a conversation about, and then ask the follow-up question, well, what do you think I need to do to make it to the next level, if that's what your goal is?
And I would just add, I, as a Leo, I'm a firstborn of a firstborn of a firstborn. We're kind of fast talking, fast walking. We think we know everything. We don't know everything. And you don't have to know everything to be good at your job. I did not ask enough questions. I was almost 30 when I went to law school, so I was older. I had worked. So then I felt that I shouldn't be asking. I felt like I would look stupid if I asked too many questions. So my mistake was, you can't know what you don't know. It doesn't matter how old you are. If you knew in that particular job, then that's a new job. So it took me a while to become comfortable saying, I'm not really sure about this. What would you recommend that I do?
I love that. Never too old.
Never.
To ask questions.
And there's no shame in asking the question.
Right. So we know hundreds of thousands of black women lost their jobs last year. AI is changing the workforce in every industry, every field. What advice do you have? And we're the growing the law.
Essence Festival of Culture 2026. There are no drones allowed in the building.
I don't think anyone here has drones. So
No drones are allowed.
Mike-
Any drones should cease operation immediately.
no drones. Okay.
No drones.
And then we, as Black women, are the largest growing group of entrepreneurs
Yes.
in the country.
Yes.
So, what would be both of your, tips or advice for people who are in transition, regardless of, fields or industry, whether you've been laid off, your position, you feel like maybe you're underemployed, you've decided to step out on faith and start a business, but you've been working in another field for a while, so you do have professional work experience. How would you suggest that, those women navigate a new situation?
It's a real question. Hundreds of thousands of us are out of work, but remember during COVID, the same thing happened. So the first thing you should know, in our book, we have a whole chapter on 12 steps to take before you start your business. Just because you know how to do something doesn't mean you're ready to start. So you need to get some help, and there are some free ways, very low economic ways. There are ways online. There's SCORE. So the first thing is do your research, get your skills together, go to your success team, read our book because we have some suggestions for how to do it. But I would say give yourself grace, give yourself time to grieve. It hurts when you're displaced, demoted. I've had it happen. I've been laid off. I've been fired, all that. We are resilient. We're the most mighty race of people on God's earth.
Amen.
We come
Yeah,
back
we can
every
clap for
time.
that.
We come from nothing. We make it everything. But I'm just going to tell you, it does not feel good to get fired. It does not feel good to have your whole department, DEI, all of a sudden get put out. So please don't think you're supposed to the next day jump up and do it all. Give yourself grace, pray, meditate, get help, whatever you need. Then start your steps to move forward.
Now, just to add what Rhonda said, not all of us are made to be entrepreneurs. I think that it's more important to build a sense of community among each other and sort of help, each other to move forward. I think give yourself grace, give yourself time to mourn. Being let go from a job is a great loss. And I think just, kind of be strategic. Don't let a difficult boss or a difficult situation be a distraction to you. Give yourself grace, give yourself time, and then start over. But while you are still working, prepare for the next. I mean, it's challenging to be comfortable in one position these days when you know what's happening around you. So kind of think about what you want to do next so you can prepare for that transition with either, taking a course, joining different organizations, getting different certificates.
Yep.
And then so, when the blow comes, it won't be as hard.
And don't worry about your age. This lady's too modest to tell you, but after a full 20 or 30 year Emmy Award-winning career, she went back and got a Master of Fine Arts just 2 years ago. So it ain't never too late. Don't worry about it.
Thank you.
See, I told you they both have so many things to flex about. They're just coming up kind of haphazardly. What's one tool that, or one nugget maybe, that you'd like everyone here to take away from the book, before we buy the book, right? You want to take away from this conversation?
It's so hard to say one nugget.
Okay.
I have a nugget. I have a nugget.
You have one? I have a couple. Well,
Okay,
I
you
already
go.
mentioned
You go.
one. Being strategic, being intentional, stepping outside your comfort zone is absolutely a big one. I mean, I consider myself to be an introvert. I still am, but I have to force myself to get out and meet new people. To meet people, I want to gravitate. When I come out in a new environment, I want to come meet y'all. I don't want to meet anyone else, but I have to force myself to meet other people. Because you never know, other people, they have other interests, how they may be able to help you down the road, but to develop relationships with people is important, not just exchange a business card. And being strategic about your networking perhaps will help motivate you to meet the people you need to include in your success team.
And my nugget is pass it forward. You are never, ever going to regret sharing your skills with other people. And don't worry, you think, well, I'm not high enough. You're high enough to help somebody. If you can see somebody near you that ain't you, you're going to help that person. So I think we often undervalue what we already know how to do. And I'm an executive coach now, and I work with so many women, and all they can see is what they don't have. And my job is to point out what they do have and how we can build on that. So pass it forward, and God bless you.
Thank you both so much. Wasn't this amazing? Yes, yes, yes. I really enjoyed this.
Thank you,
Okay,
Miss Bridget. Thank you, Miss
Oh.
Bridget.
Yes, thank you, Bridget.
Thank you both, and thank you all. So the next Little Black Book of Success, I'm gonna pick up the placard in a minute, but it's available for sale to my left, and Elaine and Rhonda are going to be here signing copies of the book. So if you'd like to purchase one, you can get yours signed, get it personalized. All right, thank you all so much
Thank
for
you
coming.
so much.
Thank you for
Yes,
coming.
thank you for
Thank
being
you for
here.
coming.
And
Yes.
enjoy the rest of Essence Festival of Culture 2026.
I'm actually going to go get my bags.